Spokesman for the military governor of North Kivu province of the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo has presented 2 Rwandan soldiers arrested during an attack by the March 23 movement, also called M23 rebels, on the army in an explicit accusation against Rwanda for supporting the rebels. The Democratic Republic of Congo's army has explicitly accused Rwanda of supporting an armed rebellion in the east of the vast country, charges Kigali denied on Tuesday. Accuses said the M23 rebels, backed by the Rwandan Defense Forces, carried out incursions and attacked positions of the Congolese army overnight on Sunday into Monday. The attacks took place at Shanzu and Runyoni.
Shanzu et Runyoni dans les territoires des Rutshuru. Au cours de ces attaques, les forces armées de la République démocratique du Congo ont mis la main sur 2 militaires rwandais. Il s'agit de l'adjudant Habyarimana Jean-Pierre, matricule AP de 27 779, et du soldat de rang Ouageneza Mouhindi John alias.
Ces militaires se reconnaissaient être rwandais. Je crois que le Rwanda n'a jamais joué franc jeu. Et ça, c'est ce qu'il faut reconnaître partout. Donc le Rwanda n'a jamais joué le franc jeu depuis que la crise a commencé. Et que donc personne ne peut croire aux arguments que le Rwanda pourrait avancer. On comprend toujours que le Rwanda ne pouvait pas accepter ces allégations, d'autant plus qu'elle l'éclabousse et démontre à suffisance que le Rwanda n'a pas cessé avec ces mécanismes de déstabilisation de l'Est de la République.
Comme il y a des preuves, en tout cas, le président de la République n'a pas deux choses à faire que de déclarer la guerre à ce pays Rwanda. Parce que, vous savez, c'est une guerre qui se répercute. D'abord, c'était le CNDP. Nous savons que le CNDP a été soutenu par le Rwanda. Nous savons que le M23 a été soutenu par le Rwanda. Mais aujourd'hui, nous voyons encore le Rwanda qui est derrière.
Now, joining us to discuss this further is Kambale Musevuli, a policy analyst with the Center for Research on the Congo, Kinshasa. Good evening to you, Kambale, and thanks for joining us on NC Continental Prime.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Kambale, the DRC's army says Rwandan soldiers backed M23 rebels during an attack near its border with Rwanda and Uganda on Monday. The United Nations in the past has said that Rwanda and Ugandan troops do carry out incursions into Congolese territory. The Rwandan authorities have vehemently denied this. What is your reaction to all of this, and what is the true position of things?
It's really important to put the conflict in Congo in the context. I think the person who was being interviewed right before me in the video said that we talked about CNDP before, M23 now. But if you look at the conflict in the Congo, we have a war of invasion of Congo's neighbors, Rwanda and Uganda. In 1996, these rebels that we are calling M23 were called AFDL. Around the 2000, they were called RCD, then CNDP, and today we are saying M23. So every time we discuss the conflict in the Congo, we hear all these acronyms thrown at us, and we think that those are different rebels. They are actually the same rebels. And the United Nations has done a great effort by engaging UN group of experts who have written reports showing over the past 2 decades how Rwanda and Uganda have tacitly supported the rebel groups in the Congo. And in this case, this is not the first time that we actually, the Congolese government or Congolese military is providing proof of Rwandan soldiers in the DRC. Why you may call them M23 rebels, we know that they are Rwandan soldiers who are sometimes wearing Congolese uniform, and it's been exposed many times. But what we must discuss is what's our path to peace in DRC? Because tomorrow I will come on your show and discuss again another rebel group massacring civilians, hundreds of people displaced. But the path to peace is very simple in DRC. As long as there is no justice for the crimes taking place in the Congo, it gives signal to the perpetrator of violence that it's okay to invade the DRC. It's okay to kill civilians. It's okay to shoot down UN planes. A helicopter was shot down just today with 8 passengers on board. So if we don't discuss justice, we will continue to talk about insurgents here and there. And the question of justice is what Congolese people are continuously calling for.
Now, Kambale, you said something quite instructive now, that if justice is not served, we will continue to see these further incursions, and it will embolden these state actors that go in and violate DR Congo territory. Now, the United Nations, as you rightly said in its report, has fingered Rwanda and Uganda supporting the M23 rebels. So beyond just this releasing of statements and talks, do you think they should switch it further notch up by sanctioning both countries for causing the stabilization in the Democratic Republic of Congo? Or what else can the international community do to exert pressure on Uganda and Rwanda?
Yeah. Here's the backdrop for the DRC conflict, because at the moment we are talking about DRC, there is also discussion of the conflict in Ukraine. So the backdrop for the DRC is that since 1996, Congo has lost over 6 million Congolese due to the conflict. Half of the deaths have been children under the age of 5. Hundreds of thousands of women have been brutally raped as a weapon of war by militia groups and so on. And currently, over 2 million Congolese are internally displaced, and not counting those who have been displaced who are refugees outside of the DRC. So that's the crisis that we have in DRC. We know the perpetrator of violence, and there have been mechanisms that have been put in place to hold them accountable. So for example, the DRC has taken Uganda to court for crimes they committed in DRC. And the International Court of Justice has found Uganda liable for crimes against humanity and war crimes in DRC. They have awarded the Congo over $300 million for reparations. The case against Rwanda was dismissed at the International Court of Justice. Why? Because just as like the United States, Rwanda has never signed the Rome Treaty, and this court is outside of jurisdiction. So how can we hold Rwanda accountable? Is it just at the UN level and sanctions? No, I think that this is also an African affair. We have African courts that can hold them accountable. We've had a court in Senegal that tried Habré of Chad, and the people of Chad, after the trial, the African Human Rights Court found that there was justice served. So it's an African question. If today we see that the world is mobilizing for the crisis in Ukraine, what are we doing as Africans when we are hearing that over 6 million Congolese people are dying? We have mechanism of justice across the continent, and especially today, with the news that Congo has joined the East African community, that the East African Community Court could look at all these crises. But international pressure on Congo's neighbors is essential. Sanctions with them is essential. But more importantly, what Congolese civil society have called for is an international tribunal for Congo that will hold perpetrators of violence accountable, because we have the evidence, so that they know that things have changed now. If that tribunal is not created, where we know that our mechanism to create it is still being stopped, tomorrow there will be again other insurgents killing civilians, displacing people, and looting Congo's mineral resources.
Thank you very much for your contributions and insights in the subject, Kambale Musevali. We do hope that something will be done to restore peace to the Eastern DRC. Thank you very much, as always, for talking to us at News Central.
Thank you.